growing in. That way I don't have to reseed or wait for them to germinate. Good morning, Cozy family. Today is a good day. Any day that I get to work on DIY, home decor, and baking, that is a great day. But first I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, those who watch my videos, who have subscribed. You allow me to do what gives me such joy, and I love it. And I love inviting you into my home and inviting you into my life so we can spend some time together. So thank you, all of you. Today what we're going to do is work on this wall behind me. The wall behind me is a very large wall. It's in the living room, and because we've already started doing some decor in this room, we reinvented a dresser so I could use it as a side table, and that turned out really well. But this wall behind me is it's a very long wall, and so I want to put something on this wall, but I want it to just be a whisper of something. I don't want anything to stand out too much. I want it to blend in. I want it to be a very neutral design. What I have is 3 picture frames, and those 3 picture frames, I'm going to paint an abstract painting on each of those in a neutral design. Now, I'm not great with abstract. I am a painter, but I'm not great with abstract. Usually I love to do pictures that are ethereal and have subjects in them and so on. So we're going to try this out today. But if I can do it, you guys can do it for sure. So what we're going to do is we'll start with that. And then after that, I want to show you a pastry that I make that is so simple. My mother has been making this my whole life, and she taught me how to make it. It's a very impressive dessert that you can make when company's coming, or you're going to someone's house and you want to bring something to them. It's a great dessert to make. It's very fresh, it's very light, and I think you'll love it. So let's get going making some home decor. These are the 3 pictures that I have. They're matching pictures. They all have mats in them, and they're great pictures. I like the simplicity of the frames, but I don't want the pictures, and I don't want black anymore. I want something that's very, very neutral on that wall. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take these apart, paint the frames, and then we're going to do the painting inside. The frames were all painted and they turned out really well. So we're going to set those aside. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to paint what used to be in here. I'm going to paint a new picture in here, okay? Like I said, I'm going to do abstract. We're going to try it. I'm not great with abstract, so let's just see how it turns out. But I love that kind of thing. I love stepping out of my box, trying something that scares me a little, you know? How's it going to turn out? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I'm just going to throw that away, you know what I mean? And just do it again. So this is something I wanted to reiterate. Everybody, I think, has a creative side, and you just have to try things. I also wanted people to know that you don't have to have a huge budget to change things in your house. Back in the day when I was a single mom of 5 children, I wanted my house pretty. I didn't have a lot of extra money to really make that happen. But you know what I did? You know when they say necessity is the mother of all invention? It's true. I wanted my house pretty. So what I did was I found things to do with paint and so on to reinvent things, to sew things. I learned how to sew really, really well because I wanted things done. I wanted to have things. I wanted to change things. I wanted to change things up and make them pretty and make them cozy. I think I was born with a cozy attitude. I think I was just born for that. So what I want you guys to know is you can do it without a big budget. Look around your house, go around your whole house. Look around, look at the walls, look at your little decor pieces and see if you love them. If you don't, it's okay. You can change them. And what's the worst that can happen? If you don't like it, try again, just try again. So what I do is I try to find inspiration on Pinterest and places like that of things that I like the look of. People who I have decorated for. What I do is I get them to look at images when they don't really know what their style is. So I get them to look at images and they say, oh, I like the look of that, or I like the look of that. So I ask them, what do you like about that? What do you like about that image? Is it the softness? Is it the contrast? What is it? I usually find out how I can decorate for them to make it cohesive for them, to make it beautiful for them. So do that, walk around your house, look at the pieces that you see and see if you see anything that can be changed. Back in the day, one of my inspirations was Debbie Travis. She used to have a show called The Painted House, and she showed what can be possible with paint, just paint. So you know what? I took that on and I started trying things. And so I encourage you to do the same thing, because you feel so good when you change something that you have to make it more beautiful for you. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna paint 3 of them, right? Because there's 3 pictures. We're gonna paint 3 of them. And I'm just gonna start. Let's see what happens. I usually start with a bunch of white. Why? Because I love this, I want this light. So a bunch of white there. Actually, let's put more. And these are some of the colors that I got. This is a buttermilk color, which I think is beautiful. So creamy. It's a little bit yellow, but mixed with some other things, it should be fine. This one is called Parchment. That's a gorgeous color. Then we have, what is this? This is Honeycomb. These are all part of the folk art paints. They're awesome. I love them. Now, I have proper paints, and I sometimes mix my own color that I want. And that one was, let's see, Fawn. Okay? So it's probably going to be a combination of all of these. Okay, so I'm going to wet my brush a little. And we'll start with the lighter colors for right now, because I just want to see how it goes. Love that. You want a bit of a marbling effect, so it gives it more depth. Let's start with that. And while the paint is wet, it's going to be easier to mix it and blend it, so there's not any hard edges. Let's give it a bit of a background here. As you can see, the way I've done this, it's the way I want it to turn out. So I want something coming from the bottom here, some contrast. I'm gonna try to give it some depth in between. And let's round these out a little. Okay, so far I hate it, but I won't later. Doesn't look like much now, but it will. See, it's starting to take shape. It's a picture in my mind. What do you want to do here? We're going to introduce another color, I think, here, even though I want it to be neutral. Introducing another color like this gives it a little bit of depth. Because it gave it a little more depth, a little more shading. So far, I'm not hating it. Okay, so far the neutrals, love the neutrals. Gotta take care of the hard edges. And let's give it light. Let's give it light. Okay, now we're gonna work on some highlights. Okay, I'm liking this, but I think we need a little deeper in here. And that's part of the highlighting too. It's not just the lighter colors. Oh, a little too much there, girl. Don't get crazy with it. You want to soften lines, right? You want a few little darker areas like that, but like I said, what looks good to you? Do what looks good to you. Art is in the eye of the beholder, so here's myself trying to give it to me it's a flower. So I'm trying to give it a bit of a stamen here with some depth. We have all three of them done. Now, they don't look like much right now, but when I put a mat around them, they're gonna look very cool. Like that. This one. I wanted them all a little bit different so I could frame them the way I want. You don't want them all exactly the same. We're gonna let these dry and then we're gonna frame them up and see how it goes. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna frame this exactly the way we want it. So put it underneath there. We're gonna frame it. I think one will go like this. Okay, we're gonna flip it. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Here we go. I love it. It's just neutral, it's just a touch. So now I'm gonna do this to all of them. I have cleaned the glass thoroughly. Last thing you want is little lint or dirt in there. Let's try not to break these. There we go. Okay, I want to be careful with that. These are awesome picture frames because you can change them out so easily. I love these little tabs so that you can just, there we go. There we go. You can even change out your pictures seasonally. You can have seasonal, like for Christmas or whatever. There we go. I love them. They're so neutral. So we're all done and I couldn't be happier. I love it. Remember when I said I wanted just a whisper of something on this wall? Well, I have it. Because it's such a long wall, I needed something that was large or a series of things. And these did the trick. I just love that I reused something that I already had. I love them. Let me know in the comments what you think. Was that enough for this wall or should I have done something with a little more contrast? So what we're making today are called profit rolls, or some people call them cream puffs. My mother has baked this recipe for many, many years. I learned it from her. It's such an easy dessert. It's light, it's fresh, it's a wonderful thing to have. I usually make it in the summertime because it's just a light dessert, and it's very low in sugar. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to add sugar. You can use monk fruit sweetener in this, you can use honey in this, so it doesn't have to be a sugary dessert. It's an easy, simple recipe, and I'm gonna show you how. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put a half a cup of butter into a saucepan. And we're just gonna melt that butter. When the butter's melted, you're gonna put 1 cup of water into this. And you're gonna let that come to a boil. So once the water comes to a boil, you're gonna wanna put 1 cup of flour all at once. You're gonna stir that until it becomes a ball. Just like that. And you're just gonna cook that just for a minute to cook off some of the flour. Once it's come together as a ball, what you want to do is add 1 of the 4 eggs in at a time. So we're just going to go like that. And mix it in. Need a little muscle here. Mix it in until the egg is mixed in. And you're going to do that 1 at a time for all 4 eggs. Like just like that. When it gets like that, add another one. Okay, time for another one. Okay, I forgot to put 2 tablespoons of sugar. And a little bit of salt. I forgot, but that's okay, doesn't ruin it. You can put the sugar and the salt in while the water's boiling. But I forgot. Okay, last egg. Perfect. That's what you want. Right there. Can you see that? Now, I'm just gonna let this cool for just a few minutes. So now that the dough has cooled, what we're gonna do is we're gonna drop spoonfuls onto a prepared cookie sheet. Okay, so you're gonna take little spoonfuls like that. A nice heaping spoonful, like that. Just drop it like that on the cookie sheet. Heaping spoon. Now you can do this with a piping bag if you want to get really fancy with it, but I don't find it's necessary. I love my food to look rustic, homemade. There we go. Just like that. Now, I do this at Christmas time as well. What I make is a croquembouche, which is a French version of this. And what it is a tower of these profit rolls or cream puffs with melted chocolate and whipped cream on the inside. Okay, so I have the oven preheated to 400 and they're gonna go in for about 45 minutes. So halfway through the baking process, what you want to do is take them out of the oven, take the cream puffs out of the oven. Look at this. Gorgeous. You want to just poke a little hole in the side like an air vent so that they don't flatten out. They're sort of like soufflés. They're a little bit fussy in the way that they don't like to be wet inside. So you really want to dry them out. You want them to be really golden all over, which I'll show you when they come out of the oven when they're really done. So all you're going to do is find a little flat side here and just give it a bit of a hole. You don't want them to collapse afterwards. So I just put a little hole. This little guy's flat. And then just pop them right back in the oven. Okay, so they're gonna go back in the oven for another 20 minutes, but you're gonna watch them because you want the full thing to be golden. And that means that they're dry on the inside so they won't collapse. While the rolls are finished cooking, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna whip up some fresh whipped cream. I'm gonna put a little bit of vanilla in it, a little bit of sugar, and that's what we're gonna use to fill it. And I'm also gonna slice up some fresh strawberries, and that's gonna be just delicious. Now that it's pretty much done, I'm gonna put a little bit of sugar, just to give it a bit of sweetness, and a touch of vanilla. So the whipped cream is done. We're gonna put it in the fridge until the profit rolls are ready to stuff. They're out of the oven, and look at these beautiful things. Now I made them a little bit dark, but I'd rather them be a little bit dark on top and dry on the inside. So I've sliced them in half. You don't have to open them all the way. Just like that. And what we're gonna do is we're just going to stuff them. And then we're going to put some sliced, gorgeous strawberries on the inside. Just like that. Look at that. It's almost like a strawberry shortcake, only this pastry, which is called show pastry, is just light, not sweet. Oh, I think we need a little more there. There we go. Because you want it kind of hanging out. There we go. Now, if you were having company and you made these sweet little things, I think that's pretty impressive. Meanwhile, it's just simple. Let's put them back here for a sec because I don't want to make the dish all dirty. Then you're just going to dust them lightly with a little icing sugar. You could even put melted chocolate on this. It would be absolutely delicious. Voila. Look at that. And there you have it. Profit rolls or cream puffs. You can make these really small and bite-sized also. So there it is, an easy, light dessert that's easy to make, very quick, and very impressive. What I'm not going to do is take a bite of one of these in front of you because they're very messy. But be assured that when the camera goes off, it's happening. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for spending time with me today, and we'll see you next time.